सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। ॐ नमः शिवाय। 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 सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Humble prostrations to one and all. So yesterday we were seeing the philosophy of meditation. Why we should meditate? So only when we understand the philosophy of Vedanta, we understand the importance of meditation. So what is the philosophy of Vedanta? All of us, we are already perfect. Perfection is our nature. Satchit Ananda is our nature. We don't have to do anything. We have to just know the nature of our perfection. But then if we are perfect, why is it that we are not able to experience this? So yesterday we had discussed this identification theory. When we identify with someone which we are not, then we experience not the properties of our own self, but the properties of that with which we are identified with. So we identify with the body, and now we think the imperfections of the body belong to us. So then what is the solution? You have to disidentify from what we are not. We have to disidentify from our matter envelopments, and we have to identify with our true self. This is what we do at the seat of meditation. So at the seat of meditation, what has to be done? So when we close our eyes and sit, the two entities should be clearly seen. What are the two entities? The witnessing consciousness on one side, the witnessed thoughts on the other side. Our identification with the matter envelopments, they express as thoughts. They express as worldly desires. Those worldly thoughts are nothing but the expression of identification. They are the symptoms of identification. Just like the symptom of fever is temperature, in the same way there is a symptom of identification. What is the symptom? Worldly thoughts. The thoughts related to raga dvesha, kama krodha lobha moha mada mahatsirya, ahankara mamakara. These are all the various kinds of thoughts which we will see. They are all the indication that the identification is with the body. So what are we supposed to do? Instead of getting carried away by these thoughts, we should pay attention to that consciousness which is witnessing these thoughts. So instead of paying attention to the thoughts, pay attention to the awareness in us with which we are aware of these thoughts. Right. The law of this world is whatever you pay attention, that you will get. What you pay attention, that you will get. If you pay attention to earning wealth, you will get wealth. If you pay attention to becoming famous, you will become famous. That's the law of this universe. What you pay attention, that you will get. If you pay attention to the world, you will get the world. If this is the law, and if I want God, what should I do? Pay attention to God. But where is God? This awareness itself is God. Prajnanam Brahma. God is already there. But we are not paying attention. Therefore we are not getting it. We are ignoring Him. That is why it is called as self-ignorance. You ignore, therefore you are in ignorance. You are in ignorance not because it is not there. It is there, but you are ignoring it. So if ignorance is the problem, what is the solution? Paying attention is the solution. Don't ignore. Pay attention and you get it. Apraptaschet praptavyam, praptaschet jnatavyam. If something is not there with you and you want it, then you have to get it. Apraptaschet praptavyam, you have to get it. But if something is already there and still you are not getting it, that is because you have not paid attention to it. Praptaschet jnatavyam, know it by paying attention to it. So this paying attention is what we do at the seat of meditation. Pay attention to that awareness. Shift your attention to that awareness. Be aware. Right. So knowing is nothing but actually being. So now, in this paying attention to awareness, there can be various obstacles. So what are the obstacles? Obstacle number one, laya, sleep. That is the first obstacle which generally we encounter as a beginner. The obstacle of sleep. Why is it that when we close our eyes and sit for meditation, we tend to go to sleep? Reason number one, because of our habit. Whenever we sit in a dark room with closed eyes, body motionless, what does the mind think? This person wants to sleep. Because this is what we have been doing. Body is motionless. Eyes are closed. No interaction with the world. Darkness in the room. Equal to sleep. So the habitual momentum is there. A momentum created by the habit. So the beginners will always find this. After a few minutes, you tend to doze off. This is one reason. The second reason could be if you don't sleep properly in the night. If the body is tired, then the mind will take every opportunity to give rest to the body. And meditation is the best, because body's rest is absolutely unavoidable. Whether you like it or not, Mother Nature is designed in such a way that you can't exert beyond the limit. Body will demand rest if it is not rested properly. And that is why we say, for a good meditation in the morning, a good night's sleep is necessary. And for a good night's sleep, a sattvic sleep is necessary. Sleep also has got 3 types. What is a sattvic sleep? Deep, refreshing, dreamless sleep is called sattvic sleep. So if you are having sattvic sleep, then body quickly gets refreshed. What is rajasic sleep? Dreamful sleep is called rajasic sleep, full of dreams. And because the mind is active, the body is not resting. What is tamasic sleep? It is that sleep The more you sleep, the more you feel like sleeping. You just don't want to get up from the bed. You have no interest in anything. Are you sleeping? Actually, you are not sleeping also. You want to sleep, you want sleeping, and the more you sleep, the more you feel like sleeping. A very peculiar condition it is. So whenever we feel like not getting up from bed, are you sleeping? No. That state is a terrible state, most unproductive. Whenever you get into such tamasic state, immediately get up and do some rajasic activity. The only way to come out of tamas is through rajas. Remember, coming out of tamas is not through sattva. If you want to come out of tamas, the way is not sattva, the way is rajas. If you want to get out of one state, go to the next immediate state. Because if you try to do sattva, you will continue in tamas, thinking that it is sattva. Because sattva and tamas, they are very similar. In tamas, it is motionlessness. The state of inactivity is tamas, state of inactivity is sattva also. But then what is the difference? Unconscious state of inactivity is tamas, alert, conscious, vigilant state of inactivity is sattva. They both appear to be the same, but there is a huge difference. They are poles apart. So therefore, never try to overcome tamas through sattva. Get into rajas. So if you are feeling sleepy, yes, go for a walk. Or another technique is pranayama. Take a deep breath, hold the breath there. Suffocate a little. You cannot sleep when you are suffocating. Pranayama is energizer also. It energizes you. It makes you fresh. If you want to enter into a state of activity without moving the body, then the best is pranayama. Vayurodhanat liyate manah jalapakshivat rodhasadhanam. Vayurodhanat manah liyate. Mind becomes peaceful through pranayama. And you become fresh also. Just like taking bath gives you freshness at the body level, at the mind level also. Pranayama also freshens you because it pumps oxygen into you. All the cells get recharged. And then all this dullness, laziness, everything goes away. So the first obstacle is sleep, laya. Another reason why we feel sleepy is boredom. We just don't know what to do at the seat of meditation. There is neither vairagya, nor viveka, nor bhakti. Then no, for sure you are going to sleep. Poor mind, it craves for happiness. And you are neither giving the happiness of vairagya, nor are you giving the happiness of bhakti. What will the mind do then? It will go to sleep. Boredom. You are trying to look within. But within, what are you finding? A dry peace. Joylessness. And you go to sleep. So there can be various reasons. Or yes, if you eat too much of food, of course yes. If the tummy is heavy, how much ever great meditator you are, you will go to sleep. Why? As Gurudev says, all the blood is gone downwards, no blood is available upwards to digest the food. So therefore, if you want a good, refreshing, fulfilling meditation in the morning, these are the things you have to keep in mind. In the night, sleep, light stomach. Before going to sleep, don't see some ghost movies and then go to sleep. Then you will see only dreams. So before going to sleep, now these are all the preparation. Do some japa. And with that japa samskara, dhyana samskara, prarthana samskara, carrying that samskara, go to sleep. Then the mind is peaceful. Then you will find that when you get up also, you get up with the same samskara. So before going to sleep, the last half an hour, don't do anything. Don't watch news, etc., world news. Palestine, Israel war. These are the wrong things we do. And such dreams also come. What we feed into our mind, that's what the mind will express. Junk in, junk out is the strict law. That's why the prayer, Bhadram karnebhi shrunuyama devaha, Bhadram pashyema akshabhirya chatra. Bhagavan, may I see only what is auspicious. May I see only what is, see and hear. Bhadram pashyema, Bhadram shrunuyama. So that's why Puja Gurudev used to say, in order to meditate efficiently for half an hour, you have to prepare for 23 and a half hours. Then that half an hour is beautiful. So intelligent living, intelligent contact with the world, that is necessary for this efficient meditation. We have to ensure that all good samskaras are given to the mind. Mind is always exposed to everything good and noble, divine. And such a mind will cooperate with you at the seat of meditation. So the first one is laya, sleep. So pranayama can be a way. Even loud chanting can be a way to come out of it. If nothing is working, then sleep better. Body needs sleep. Give rest. Well, laya is quite okay. Once we overcome this obstacle, the second obstacle which will trouble us is called vikshepa, the wandering of the mind. You are not sleeping, but you are not able to catch the mind. You are not able to withdraw the mind. You are not able to fix the mind upon the self, because the mind is wandering in the world. This is called as vikshepa. So this issue is raised by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramati balavadrudham tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Bhagavan, this mind is chanchalam, not just chalam, but chanchalam, extremely fickle, jumping from one subject to another, and not staying in a place. Fickle. Chanchalam. Then pramati. It agitates the mind, churns the mind. Pramathanam means to churn. Not just mathanam, but pramathanam, extreme. Means what? The tendency of the mind is always to think negative. That's what stirs the mind. That is how the mind is designed as though. Just like the water is designed to flow from the higher to the lower, everything is designed to fall downwards. In the same way, as though the mind is designed to go into the negative tracks, channels, thoughts. And then what happens? Negative thoughts churns the mind, disturbs the mind, agitates the mind. Pramadhi, balavat, very strong. There are certain areas which I don't want the mind to go, but it will drag me towards such directions, towards such sense objects. I don't want the mind to go, but I am helpless. Balavat, very strong. And then what it goes there? Dridham. If I try to pull the mind back, it is stubborn, unyielding, remains firm there, gets rooted there. Bhagavan, this is the condition of my mind. Chanchalam, Pramadhi, Balavat and Dridham. Tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Bhagavan, controlling this mind is like conquering the wind. Meaning, impossible. Very good comparison it is. Comparing the mind with the wind. What are the similar features? First one, wind is unseen, mind is also unseen. You can't see the wind in the same way. With your senses, you can't see the mind. The unseen thing is always difficult to conquer and control. Second comparison, the wind blows in all directions. In the same way, the mind also goes in all directions. Comparison number 3, it is impossible to conquer the wind. So whenever these tornadoes and hurricanes, etc. come, the warning signal is given, please give way. They don't try to control it. They just step aside, isn't it? In spite of all this modern technology, when all these storms come, they just displace people from there. Because we don't have the ability to control it. In the same way, this mind also, Arjuna says, impossible, Bhagavan. So what does Bhagavan say replying to this? Asamshayam mahabaho mano durnigraham chalam. Arjuna, asamshayam. Absolutely no doubt in it, what you are saying is right. Hey Mahabahu, indicating that the one who conquers the mind is real Mahabahu, mighty armed. Conquering others is very easy. Conquering one's own mind is the most difficult. Mano durnigraham chalam. Yes, what you are saying is right. It is difficult. Extremely difficult. But though it is difficult, it is not impossible. Bhagavan, then what is the way? Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. Abhyasa and vairagya is the way. In fact, vairagya abhyasa is the way. So now this answer is beautiful because the problem is also given and the solution is also given in one word. The solution is vairagya. So the problem must be raga. What else? The opposite is the problem, isn't it? The solution is vairagya. So now this is a beautiful answer because why is mind fickle? Why is mind stubborn? It is all because of raga. This is the culprit. Raga, attachment. Wherever there is attachment, you will find the mind behaving in a peculiar way. Wherever there is attachment, you will find, to the extent your attachment is strong, to that extent you become helpless in controlling the mind. Greater the raga, greater the chanchalata of the mind, fickleness of the mind. Greater the raga, greater is the stubbornness of the mind. But how did this raga come into place? Who created it? Bhagwan, you injected raga into me. I will blame you. So if you observe, really speaking, we are only creating raga in us. Who created it? I myself. Through unintelligent contact with the world. When I unintelligently contact with the world, raga will come. How does this raga come? So there is a sequence if you observe. The first step is karma, interaction with the world. I, with my sense organs, interact with the sense objects. So when I interact with the sense objects, what happens? Karma phala is there. What is the karma phala? Sukha, dukkha. Some objects, I like it, they give joy to me. Sukha. Some objects, they give dukkha to me. Sorrow. So karma, what is the next step? Karma phala, which is nothing but sukha dukkha. What is the next step? Whatever gives me sukha, I have raga. Whatever gives me joy, happiness, I automatically tend to like it, get attached to it. And whatever gives me dukkha, I automatically tend to have dvesha. So sukha dukkha, next comes raga dvesha. Next what? Raga dvesha prerita karma. Again I perform action. Based on what? Based on raga dvesha. Again there is sukha dukkha, raga dvesha, again karma, sukha dukkha, raga dvesha. In this process, what is happening to raga? Whenever actions are done, instigated by raga, that raga becomes more and more intense. I like tea, coffee. I like it because it is giving me joy. This is nice. Every day evening I should have 1 cup. Then what happens? Over a period of time, a time comes and without tea or coffee, my engine doesn't start. Who created it? I created it. It's called as addiction, isn't it? And wherever there is raga, mind will behave in a peculiar way. Chanchalam, pramadhi, balavadridham will happen. Correct? Remember, when I say sense object, it can be a thing, it can be a being, it can be a situation. Vastu, vyakti, paristhiti. You spend time with a person, when you go back, you liked it. The company of that person gives me joy. So then what will happen? You would want to spend more and more time with that person. And slowly what happens? Intense attachment with that person. Now that person will decide your joys and sorrows. You become a helpless slave. You want that company of that person. Without that person, you feel lonely, miserable. You see, That's why we say falling in love. Falling, there's a fall. Why is it not rising in love? Anything which makes you a slave, you fall. Mastery is rising, slavery is falling. You never say falling in love with God. No, because it's not fall. When you start loving God, you rise. You become a master of the world, master of the senses, master of the mind. But when you fall in love with the world, you become a slave of the world. Anything related to world, we use the term asakti. Anything higher which raises you, we use the term bhakti. Pitru bhakti, matru bhakti, rashtra bhakti, ishvara bhakti. See the term used. Both are love only. But one love rises you, helps you go up, makes you a master. Another one degrades you. So it's called asakti. Both are love only. One takes you up, other takes you down. Right. So raga is a problem. Unintelligent contact with the world will intensify the ragas. And how do I know that there is raga there? Raga or dvesha? At the seat of meditation, you will find the mind going to such places, such people, such situation, such things. If you just observe where the mind is going, you will come to know where your raga dveshas are. Mind will not go to a stranger. Try to meditate on a stranger. Try to meditate on your grandchild. Very easy. Try to meditate upon your enemy number one. Very easy. It is as though there is a groove and just you, the mind just gets into the groove. How did that groove form? Repetition, abhyasa, raga abhyasa. Again and again, when you do raga abhyasa, what happens? Raga becomes strong. So if raga abhyasa has created the problem, what should be the solution? Abhyasena tu kaunteya. Which abhyasa? Vairagya. So vairagya abhyasa has to be done. If a wrong habit has been created, what is the way to come out? A right habit has to be created. How do you create any habit? Repeated practice is the way. Repeated practice. Practicing it again and again. Other way, not the same way. Raga is one way, Vairagya is the other way. The way into prison itself is the way out of prison. How did you enter into this bondage? That entry path itself is the exit path also. Raga abhyasa is the way in which we get bound. So then what has to be done? Vairagya abhyasa. Now the question is how to practice vairagya. How to practice vairagya? Pay attention to the limitation of that object, to the painful aspect of that object. See, the world is designed in such a way that every sense object, when we interact or when we indulge, there is always this agre amrutopamam pariname visham. In the beginning, nectarian, amrutam. In the end, visham. That's a common nature of this world. Junk food. In the beginning, amrutam. In the end, visham. Isn't it? The initial joy is temporary, but the final pain is permanent. Now, when that sense object is in front of you, what are you seeing? Are you seeing the initial pleasure or the final pain? That will define you whether you are a mudha or a dhira. These terms are often you will find in scriptures. Mudha jahihi dhanagama trishna. Ahankara vimudhatma. Mudha. What does mudha see? He sees the initial pleasure. His intellect gets paralyzed, seeing that initial pleasure. And then that intellect is no more able to function. Just like, a limb of the body which is paralyzed. What happens? It is your limb, but you have no control over it. It's just hanging there. In the same way, my own intellect becomes paralyzed. That intellect is no more able to think, no more able to discriminate. Why? That initial pleasure. Wow, it's a joyful thing. I'll be happy. But in the end there is a pain. I'm not able to see the pain. So how to cultivate vairagya? Instead of seeing the initial pleasure, learn to focus upon the final pain. Educate the mind. In the case of junk food, in the beginning you are attracted, fine, have this junk food. After that, there is problem. Go through the pain. Don't take away the attention of the mind from that pain. Be consciously aware of that pain. Be painfully aware. Generally, what do? We distract the mind from that pain and we fix the mind upon something very attractive. Don't do that. Then what will happen? The mind has registered the initial pleasure, the mind has not registered the final pain. So the end result is the mind will keep thinking that this is an object of joy. Are you able to understand what I am saying? Make the mind go through the pain. Let it consciously be aware of the pain. And then what happens? Next time when it sees the object, what does it remember? The initial pleasure or the final pain? Final pain, because it is registered. It is soaked in that pain. It can never forget, oh my God, this object has given me pain last time, better keep it away. You see, that is called vairagya. The object is in front, but you are not attracted. Remember, we are talking of viveka janita vairagya. Vairagya also 3 types. Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. What is Tamasic vairagya? Tamas is always related to ignorance. I don't know that thing, therefore I am not attracted towards that thing. That is called as Tamasic vairagya. You put $100 note in front of a child, the child is not attracted. The chocolate is more attractive. Because the child doesn't know the value of that note. That is not vairagya. though it may appear to be Vairagya. This is called as tamasic Vairagya. Vairagya because there is ignorance involved. You don't know the joy element in that thing, therefore you are not attracted towards that thing. That is not Vairagya. Then there is a Rajasic Vairagya. What is it? Junk food is there, but I have fever. So I have no interest because I am not healthy, because of a particular situation. Otherwise I love that food. But because my stomach is upset, then that is called as Rajasic Vairagya. Temporary. That is also not real Vairagya. What is Vairagya? Sattvic Vairagya. What is Sattvic Vairagya? Viveka Janita Vairagya. That object is there. And you know the pleasure content in it also. It's not that you are unaware. You have gone through that experience. But then you are seeing the final pain also. Viveka is there. This thing will in the beginning give me pleasure, but in the end it will take me only to hell. So even though the object is in front of me, it is not capable of attracting me. Because I am seeing the final permanent pain, not the superficial pleasure. This is called as Vairagya. And this is a healthy Vairagya. See, Vairagya is not bitterness. Vairagya is also not hatred. It's an indifference. It's a healthy indifference. Right. So when you have this kind of relationship with things, beings and situations in the world, when you have this healthy Vairagya, will the mind go towards these objects? No. You will always find anything which is capable of giving me happiness, towards that thing, being or situation alone the mind goes. This is the law. Now what is my definition? These things cannot make me happy. So therefore, you will find that the mind stops going towards those things. But this alone will not do. Another thing also has to be practiced. What is it? Bhakti towards the Lord. Otherwise it will become suppression and it won't work. This is one of the mistakes which people do. They try to cut off themselves from the sense objects, but they don't feed the mind with a higher joy. You are preventing the mind from indulging in the lower joys, but you are not exposing the mind to the higher joy. So will the mind remain peacefully there? No. If the mind is not nourished by the higher joy, it will force its way towards the lower joys. This is what happens when you do suppression. Suppression is never the solution mentioned in scriptures, no. What we talk of is sublimation. What is sublimation? Exposing the mind to the higher joy, and through that withdrawing the mind from the lower pleasures. So the mind is getting higher happiness, therefore the mind has no problem in giving up the lower pleasures of life. This is a healthy way. This is called as sublimation. So you have to understand the difference between suppression and sublimation. That's a healthy mind. You get something higher, therefore you are dropping the lower. What is the higher joys of life? The joy of meditation, the joy of devotion, the joy of selfless service, the joy of egolessness, the joy of purity. These are all the higher joys. It is more fulfilling. And once the mind is exposed again and again, time and again to these higher joys, the mind stops craving for these lower worldly pleasures. Such a mind is a healthy mind. Now here, while practicing Vairagya also, a very important thing, what happens is, this mistake generally, these spiritual beginners, they do this. They come to the satsang and then they, listen to all this. All these relationships are all impermanent. Our relationship with God alone is permanent. And therefore, be detached. Vairagya. And this person, after attending some class, starts practicing Vairagya. Indifference to wife, indifference to children, totally different person. And the wife comes running, Swamiji, what have you done? You are such a good person. Now he doesn't care. This is Vairagya practice wrongly. Please understand. Vairagya is not something to be shown outside. It is something to be known inside. Outside, our children, our wife, they crave for our appreciation, our love, our company, our recognition, whatever. They crave for all that. If you are truly spiritually evolved, you give that. A child is coming for love, respect, recognition. You give. That is called as Vairagya. Suppose the child comes to you, the child has painted something. Maybe a terrible painting, of course. Papa, you see. So what will you do if you are a sensible father? You will appreciate, what a painting, beautiful. The child is happy. But deep down you know that it is no painting at all. There is Vairagya towards a painting. But do you show it? What is this? Is this the way to draw? Idiot. You don't say. Isn't it? Deep down you know, but the child is craving for something. So you come down to the level of the child. Whatever the child needs, you give. This is true Vairagya. Externally, you behave according to the needs of the society, needs of the people who are dependent on you. But deep down, unaffected. And your Vairagya, the world doesn't know. The world thinks you are a Ragi person. But deep down you know, it is. At the seat of meditation you are tested. Whether Raga is there or Viraga is there. At the seat of meditation, if you have Raga, you will not be able to withdraw the mind. If there is Viraga, you are easily able to withdraw the mind. So Vairagya is not something to be shown. This is when the relationship gets affected. So immature spiritual seekers in the beginning, they do this mistake. And then the whole family members, they become dead against. So the husband doesn't like wife going to satsang. Why? Because the wife has done something like this. Or the ulta. You understood? The more and more you become spiritual, you become a sweet personality, a loving personality. That's what you should not become dry, stone-like. Udasina vadasina. Udasina. This is one of the virtues of a devotee. Udas means what in Hindi? Sad person. No interest in the world. Very dry personality. That is not spiritual. This topic we will take up tomorrow. So they are all different stages. So the wandering of the mind stops when there is vairagya. Okay. Now there is a third obstacle. We will see tomorrow. Let us sit 2-3 minutes in silence. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ।